My sister is profoundly autistic, and I resent her for making my life a waking nightmare. I resent her. That should be awful to admit, but it doesn't feel that way ever since my sister was born. It's like, oh my God, you guys, have you ever felt so utterly invisible, so completely betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you, that your whole world just shattered? Because that's exactly what happened to me. And trust me, the truth was far more twisted than I ever could have imagined. I was 6, buzzing with excitement, ready to be the best big sister ever. But that joy? It just evaporated, slowly, agonizingly, until I felt like a ghost in my own home. The shift was subtle at first, then undeniable. Suddenly, my cozy room was gone, replaced by the cold, forgotten corners of the basement. Why? She needs to be closer to Mom and Dad. That phrase ripped through me, carving out a lonely space in my heart. Nights down there were endless, filled with the muffled sounds of laughter and life happening upstairs, without me. I wasn't a daughter anymore. I was an afterthought. Then came the toys. My precious, imaginative escapes. They'd vanish, only to reappear in pieces, scattered, broken. Every time I tried to tell my parents, begging for a flicker of understanding, a hint of justice, all I got was that familiar, infuriating refrain. She's younger. She doesn't understand. You're the big sister. You should be more understanding. Unfair doesn't even begin to cover it. Those toys were my world, and watching them destroyed, with no one caring enough to acknowledge my pain, just solidified that knowing feeling of being invisible. The MacBook incident, that was the last straw. School had given it to me, a reward for finally excelling, for me. And then, just like that, it was annihilated. My school was furious, blaming me for carelessness. My parents, they just piled on, adding their accusations to the heap. No one, not a single soul, stopped to consider it wasn't my fault. I was seething, heartbroken, but mostly just profoundly alone in that mess. It wasn't about a laptop. It was about feeling like absolutely nobody had my back. Honestly, trying to live my own life while being the sister felt like an impossible tightrope walk. I love my sister. I really do. But it's like my parents forgot I was still a kid too. Every single time she needed something, I had to drop everything. Didn't matter if I was studying, hanging out with friends, or just trying to catch a breath. I was on call, 24/7, without ever signing up for the job. I couldn't even remember the last time I hung out with my friends without my phone glued to my hand, terrified I'd miss a call, a desperate plea to rush home. My life felt like it was stuck on pause, always waiting for the next emergency, the next demand. It was suffocating. So, when my friend Jake suggested the new Spider-Man movie, it felt like a lifeline, an escape. It had been ages since I'd made plans purely for my own joy. I needed that break, just a couple of hours to be a teenager, not a caretaker. I made a decision, a small act of rebellion. I turned my phone off, just for 2 hours. Walking out of that theater, turning it back on, I swear it felt like I was hit by a truck. Missed calls, texts, a hurricane of panic. I called home, the movie's joy evaporating with every ring. My mom's voice, when she finally picked up, was pure venom. Where have you been? We needed you an hour ago. I couldn't even get a word in. I rushed home, a tangled mess of guilt and a simmering rage. Walking into that house was like stepping into a storm. My parents were livid, their disappointment a crushing weight. We rely on you, and you just decide to disappear to watch a movie. My dad's voice was a knife, cutting through my sister's background noise. A movie, a simple movie, was now a crime. I tried to explain, tried to say I just needed a moment to myself, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Your responsibilities here are more important than some movie, my mom declared, her words final. They grounded me, accused me of being irresponsible. Sitting in my room afterward, it hit me. This wasn't about the movie. This was about feeling utterly, completely stuck. Yes, my sister needs me. I get it. But sometimes, Sometimes I just want to do something normal without being drowned in guilt or branded a criminal. Being 18 and feeling like you're not allowed to have your own life? It's a special kind of hell. It wasn't just about a movie. It was about being trapped in a role I never chose, aching for a slice of normalcy in a life that felt anything but. I loved my sister deeply, but in that moment, I couldn't help but feel robbed of all the simple teenage joys, the friendships, the carefree moments. Living in that house, it truly felt like I was caught in an endless loop where everything revolved around my sister. I understood she needed care, but I also felt like just another item on the family's endless to-do list. Help your sister. Make sure she's okay. Can't you see we're busy with her? It was exhausting, utterly draining. I wasn't a person. I was an extra hand, invisible unless they needed something for her. This feeling, like a slave in my own home, was suffocating, crushing me under a weight that made me question my own worth. Then came that one week, a week that promised to be different. I was chosen to give a speech at a school event, and that recognition, that rare spotlight on me, it lit something up inside. I poured my heart into every word, every late night a hopeful anticipation of seeing my parents in the crowd, maybe even catching a proud smile. For the first time in forever, I felt valued. Like maybe, just maybe, things were finally looking up. But they weren't. They missed it, because of something with my sister. Again. Blamed on her. Again. Standing there, about to speak, scanning the faces, and not seeing them, it was a punch to the gut. My voice shaky, my hands trembling. I pushed through. I cried, not just for the speech, but for all the years I'd been sidelined. People clapped, but it felt hollow, utterly empty. The walk home was a blur of tears. It wasn't about making a big deal. It was a brutal reminder that no matter what I did, I would always be secondary. The pattern felt endless. Talking about colleges with my dad. That was supposed to be my moment. It started so normal, so full of promise. For once, it felt like we were focusing on my future, on something that was just for me. I was actually excited, dreaming of getting out, creating my own life, far from the chaos. We looked at brochures, talked majors, campuses. It was the closest to truly dreaming I'd gotten in years. Then he made the joke. Something about picking a high-paying major so I'd be set to take care of my sister when they're gone. He laughed, thinking it was just a light-hearted comment, but it hit me like a physical blow. All those years of bottled-up feelings, the resentment, the invisibility, the neglect, it all just exploded. I lost it. I started crying, then yelling, a torrent of all the unfairness, all the ways my life was expected to revolve around being a caretaker. Everything poured out, every moment of feeling overlooked, undervalued, every sacrifice. I tried to make him see how much I'd given up, how everything always circled back to what my sister needed. But they didn't get it. My parents just stood there, staring at me like I was speaking a foreign language, watching me crumble. No comfort, no apologies, nothing. Their faces were so cold, so utterly detached. It was like they couldn't even comprehend why I was so upset over a joke. That's when I realized they weren't going to hear me. I ran to my room, slammed the door, and I've been here ever since. And here's the thing that absolutely crushed me. I was in there for hours, then days, and they never once bothered to check on me. Not a knock, not a word, nothing. It was like my entire outburst, my pain, my desperation, meant absolutely nothing to them. I sat there, so lonely, knowing that even this, me being this devastated, wasn't enough to make them see how much I was hurting. It was like I was trapped in this role they'd assigned me, and my feelings about it simply didn't matter. Was I wrong for wanting more? For wanting to be seen as more than just a future caretaker for my sister? It just felt like no matter what I did, my life didn't matter. I am nothing to them, I thought, nothing more than an insurance policy for my sister after they are gone. After hours turned into days with no word, something in me finally snapped. I couldn't shake the feeling that everything had to change. It wasn't just about getting away. It was about needing space, real space, to figure out who I was, without constantly being dragged back into the same old nightmare. I thought of the one person who always seemed to get it, Grandpa. Without a grand plan, I just packed some essentials into a backpack one night and left. I texted him, half expecting him to talk me out of it. "Oh, Weiss, call my parents." But he didn't. He just texted back, "Doors open." Staying with Grandpa has been a revelation. It's not like every moment has been some deep, heart-to-heart, but it's just, calm here. He lets me be. We've talked about college, about what I might want to do, and it's the first time in years I've been able to think about my future without a crushing weight of guilt or stress. He's been so supportive, encouraging me to think about what I want, not what I feel obligated to do. It's weird, but in just a week here, I've felt more like myself than I have in years. We've shared meals, watched old movies, and he's told me stories about his own youth. It's been so nice, so simple, and incredibly freeing. I've even started researching colleges again, this time looking at programs I'm genuinely interested in, not just ones that might earn enough to take care of my sister. Being with Grandpa has given me a glimpse of what my future could look like, and it's something I desperately want to hold on to. Then, when I finally spilled everything to Grandpa, his reaction was way more intense than I expected. I mean, I knew he'd be surprised, but he looked downright horrified. I told him everything, how I'd essentially been my sister's full-time caregiver on top of everything else, and how it all came crashing down with my dad's joke about college. Grandpa was seriously upset, especially when he found out my sister was supposed to have professional help she wasn't getting. He told me a lot, things I'm not comfortable repeating, but the gist was clear. It wasn't right, or safe, for me to be in that position. He couldn't believe my parents were putting all this on me, and that they'd kept so much from the rest of the family. He was also furious about the movie incident, calling it the last straw that proved how unfairly I was being treated. Grandpa's usually so chill, so seeing him this mad? It was a huge deal. He told me straight up not to talk to my parents unless he was there, which honestly was such a relief. He said he'd talk to them first, sort things out, and be there for me for any future conversations. But it wasn't just Grandpa. Over the next few days, I heard from aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. They were all checking in, making sure I was okay, and every single one of them was as shocked as Grandpa. Turns out, my parents had been telling everyone they had a professional caregiver for my sister, even taking money from the family to pay for it. Except that caregiver never existed. Everyone was beyond upset about being lied to, especially about something so serious. This past week, man, it's been a roller coaster. Tough, absolutely, but also incredibly eye-opening in the best way possible. All the drama with my parents, finding out about those lies, it was a lot. But then there's been this unexpected silver lining, my extended family stepping up in ways I didn't even know I needed. Grandpa's been at the center of it all, constantly pushing me to just be a teenager again. It's weird but amazing, getting nudged to hang out with friends, or just chill and do whatever I feel like. Stuff I haven't really done in, well, forever. It's like he's on a mission to help me reclaim parts of my life I didn't even realize I was missing. And it's not just him. My aunts and uncles have been incredible, too. They've been around so much this week, bringing food, just talking, and actually listening. It's like they are making this massive effort to show they care, to make sure I don't feel alone in this whole mess. It's overwhelming, but in the best possible way. For the first time in what feels like ages, I'm not just the sister or the caretaker. I'm just me, and that feels really, really good. The talk with my parents on Saturday night? Disaster doesn't even cover it. I went in hoping, maybe, just maybe, we could start fixing things. Instead, it imploded. They actually admitted to a bunch of stuff, things so messed up I can't even bring myself to type them here. But the kicker? Not a single sorry came out of their mouths. Instead, they doubled down, saying I was pretty much born to be my sister's caretaker. Yeah, my dad actually said that. Like my whole purpose was just about taking care of her. I couldn't keep it together. All the things I'd found out, all the support I'd been getting from the rest of the family, it all just bubbled up. I called them out on everything, the lies about the caretaker, the money they were supposedly spending, all of it. But they just dodged, made excuses. By the end, things were even worse than before. It felt like hitting a brick wall trying to get through to them. I'd walked into that conversation with a sliver of hope that we could mend things, but I walked out feeling like that chance was completely torched. So, after that train wreck of a talk, I made up my mind. I'm done. I had a long chat with Grandpa and my uncle last night, and we all agreed it's best if I don't go back. Today's the day I'm officially moving out to live with Grandpa. It feels weird, making such a huge change, but it also feels incredibly right. Like I finally have some control over my own life again. I've also decided I'm leaving the state for college once I'm done with high school. Just the thought of starting fresh somewhere new is kind of thrilling. My aunt? She's been incredible through all this. She told me she's going to start sending the money directly to me, the money she used to give to my dad for my sister's care. Guess it's going to be my college fund now. My parents have called a couple of times since that night, but if you're thinking they called to say sorry, or that they missed me, nah. They just wanted to know when I was planning to come back home. It's like they are not even trying to understand why I had to leave. I know this is going to be a huge change, and honestly, I'm kinda scared. But at the same time, I feel this immense weight lifting off me. I'm finally making decisions for myself, and there's something truly freeing about that. Today is just the start of something new, I guess. Deciding not to go back to my parents' house was one of the hardest things I've ever done, not gonna lie. There's this uneasy, twisting knot in my stomach, but deep down, I think it'll fade with time. The support I've been getting from the rest of my family has been unreal. It's strange, but even though I've made this massive, life-altering decision, feeling all their love and unwavering support makes the whole situation a bit easier to handle. But yeah, the harsh truth, I've pretty much lost my parents through all this. That realization hits hard. It's a lot to process, and sometimes I catch myself wishing things could have been different. But through all the mess, I've come to see something incredibly important. I don't hate my sister. That anger I thought I felt towards her, it was so misplaced. She's not the one to blame for how our parents chose to handle things. I love her more than I can say, and hating her for something she had no control over was wrong on so many levels. I hope someday I can make that right. For now, though, leaving is what I need to do for myself. It's about finding my own way, figuring out who I am outside of this whole impossible situation. It's going to be a journey, but I'm finally ready for it. Moving out was so surreal. Grandpa and my uncle were right there with me, every single step of the way, helping me pack up my entire life into boxes and bags. We made sure to grab all the truly important stuff, my birth certificate, my social security card. It felt weirdly official, like I was carefully collecting pieces of my old life to start a brand new one. My parents, they were almost completely silent the whole time. Dad actually took off with my sister not long after I got there, leaving just my mom to watch us pack. She didn't say much, just hovered in the background. It was awkward, tense, thick with unspoken words. But then, as we were about to leave, she finally broke down. She said she loved me, that she'd miss me. After days of silence, those words, they hit differently. I hugged her, said goodbye. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Sitting in my new room at Grandpa's house tonight, I keep replaying that moment. Did she mean what she said? After everything, it's hard to know for sure, but I want to believe she did. Right now, all I can do is focus on what's ahead. Maybe, just maybe, with time, my parents and I can find our way back to each other. I hope so. So, tell me, have any of you ever had to make such a difficult choice for your own well-being? Or felt like you were just an afterthought in your own family? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.